Hello children, this is past paper discussion and in this video we are planning to discuss formative assessment September 2024 paper. So then last year that this was the first time you had the formative assessment system. The earlier we had the monthly test, October monthly test, November monthly test, these kind of thing, but now we do have formative assessment September, October. So then every month you have these kind of assessment other than your main semester examinations. Okay, first we will go through the instruction, and this time that not like the monthly test papers. So these instructions are for teachers. Please write questions on the whiteboard. That means you don't get the paper, so they will write the questions on the whiteboard and ask children to keep 2 lines at the end of the answer script for the teachers to write a feedback. That means whenever you write the answer, let's say that you are done with the answer, you want to keep 2 lines, then only you can start the next answer, because that you want to keep 2 lines to write teachers' feedback, right? So then you have only 30 minutes to write the answers. And first, whenever you get the paper like this, that your teacher will write the questions on the board, and looking at that, you want to write the answer. So then I suggest you to start that the paper you have. Let's say that you write your name. Let's say A.B. Silva, something like this, just an imaginary name. And then this is at the grade 7, that you are from grade 7B class, let's say. And here you can write your admission number, A00256 something, that you have your admission number and your name and the grade, right? So then we will put the question number. Question number 1, you want to estimate to the first significant figure, right? So you write the question, you have the Roman numbers 6.85 and you underline the first significant figure. This is the first significant figure, and you look at the next number, right? And then the next number, if it is 5 or more than 5, we need to add 1 to where we need to add 1 to the underlying number. So then I just write that this is approximately equal because it is not exactly equal. So that is 7.00, and you can write this as 7, and inside the bracket you want to write 1 SF. 6.85 is equal to 7 when you correct it to the first significant figure. This is how you want to write the answer. Then the second one, what is the number you have? 48,292. 48,292. Again, you underline the first significant figure. This is the first significant figure. You look at the next number. It is more than 5. Therefore, we need to add 1 to where we need add 1 to the underlying number. So 4 becomes 5, and rest of the digits will be 0, right? So then you can write, so this is 48,292 will be equal to 50,000 if you correct it to one significant figure, or the first significant figure. Children, here I want to explain you that where the most of the students get wrong what it is. So they just write 48,292. So they just write it as 5. They nicely do this. They understand the first significant figure and they look at the next number and they realize that it is more than 5. If so, you want to add 1 to the underlying number, that is 4. And they just write 5. Children, you just think how the 48,292 will be equal to 5. So when you correct it to the first significant figure, that you can't change the whole thing, that the number is 48,292. And after correcting it to the first significant figure, that if you just write 5, will it be correct? No, that is wrong. So then you want to understand that it should be 50,000. The rest of the digits will be with zeros. So then this sounds good, that 48,292, that will be equal to 50,000 when you correct to the first significant figure. gives us a meaning, right? But 48,292, if you just write it as 5, that doesn't give us any meaning at all. Okay, so then we will move to the next question, question number 2. When you are writing that you want to keep the space, but here that I'm not doing it, 2, here we have correct to the 2 decimal places, right? 47,998. So we write part 1, 47.998. I want to correct it the second decimal place. I underline the second decimal place and I look at the next number. Please be mindful what I'm doing here. Always you want to underline what they have asked you to do. They have asked you to estimate, or that they have asked you to correct this to the second decimal place. If that is the second decimal place, you want to understand that what is the second decimal place. Yes, I did it. I underline it and I look at the next number. When I look at the next number, if it is 5 or more than 5, I want to add 1 to where I'm going to add 1? To the underlying number. So then 9 becomes 10. So then what happens, children? Then you write 0 here, and then that 1 I add with 9. That is also become 10. I put 0 here, and that remainder 1 I add with 7, and that becomes 8. Now it is the answer. So then you write that the next digit will be 0, and your final answer will be 48.00, and here I write 2 dp. And children, I'll take another common mistake that all of you are doing. We know that 48.00, we can just write it as 48 because no point of keeping 0 at the end after the decimal place. That doesn't add anything to the value. Therefore, I can just write 48.00 as 48. But without writing 48, why I kept it as 48.00? Because you want to correct this number to 2 decimal places. That if that is the second decimal place, even though they are zeros, you want to keep it like this. Simply 47.998, when you correct to the second decimal place, my answer will be 48.00, right? So hope you understood that my concern and what is the theory behind this. And then the part 2, 8.987. We'll see that how it comes. 8.987. Again, we have the same thing here. We underline the second decimal place. You go to the next one. So then that is more than 5. So then that will be 8.990. And this time I write 8.99 2 decimal places. Okay, that always you want to keep the 0 to whatever the digit that you are removing. Then later you can conclude your answer that 8.99, because no point of keeping 990, that that we don't have any value with that 0. This time I can just write 8.99 because with that 99 I have 2 decimal places. But earlier one I can't just write 48. I want to write 48.00 as I want to have 2 decimal places, right? Okay, so then we will move to the question number 3. We'll see that in question number 3 what we are supposed to do. You want to find 10 to the power 3. So this is very easy. You know that with the indices lesson. So you want to expand this 10 times 10 times 10, and your answer will be 1000. Okay. And then the part 2, we'll see what we have. 2.85. So 2.85. 10 to the power of negative 3. Children, first we want to understand what is 10 to the power of negative 3. You want to first write this as a positive indices, the index value. So 1 over 10 to the power 3. And then what does this mean? That you can just write 2.85 multiplied by 1 over 10 to the power of 3. By now, we know what is 10 to the power of 3. 2.85 2.85 multiplied by 1/1000, because 10 to the power of 3 already we realize it is 1000. No need to expand it and get the answer because we have already done it. So 2.85 you multiply by 1/1000 means simply 2.85 divide by 1000, right? And then it is 0.00285, right? Because I want to that if it is a decimal number in grade 6, you have learned when you are dividing a decimal number by 1000, you want to move 3 steps to the left side. So then 1, 2, 3. Yes, I have come 3 steps. What you are supposed to do, yeah, you want to find the value. So then 2.85, 10 to the power of -3. First, you convert the 10 to the power of -3 into positive 10 to the power of 3. 10 to the power of 3 means 1000. Then 2.85 you multiply by 1/1000. And you multiply something by 1/1000, simply it says that you want to divide by 1000. So then when you divide, you get the answer like this. Okay. So then we will move to the question number 4. Question number 4, you have give as a single number in index form. Here, children, that they have given question number 4, Roman number 1, a to the power of 2, a to the power of 2, and a to the power of 4, right? So then a to the power of 2 plus 4, and then that is a to the power of 6, right? 2 plus 4, 6. So then that the next one, 8 to the power of -2. How do you get this? First you write 1/8 to the power of 2, because with the negative index you can't do anything, you can't find the value. First you want to convert the negative index into positive index. Then what I do, 1/8 times 8, because you want to multiply the base value 8 2 times. So then what will be my answer? 1/64, right? So then the 2 to the power of 0, third one, 2 to the power of 0 plus 3 to the power of 0. 2 to the power of 0, the answer is 1. Any base value to the power of 0, the answer is 1. And you add 3 to the power of 0, 1. 1 plus 1, it's 2. Okay. Then we will move to the next one. That is number 4. Give as a single number in index form a to the power of b, a to the power of b divided by a to the power of c, right? So then we write a to the power of b minus c. We can't simplify this further. We have to write the answer like this. The theory behind this, if you have the division and the same base value, you want to subtract the indices. But here that we can just write b minus c, that apart from that we can't write anything because we don't know the value of b and c. But the question number 1 that you just see, the Roman number 1, that you have the multiplication and the same base value, you want to add the indices. 2 plus 4 you can add and get the final answer 6. Because we have the values. But here, even though we need to subtract, we don't know what are the values of b and c, we just keep it as a to the power of b minus c. Okay, great. So then we will move to the last question, that is question number 5, right? So 3.62, 10 to the power of 2. So then first what we do, that we expand 10 times 10, the answer is 100. Okay. And then here we write 3.62 multiplied by 100. And then my answer is 362.0 And my final answer, 362, right? Because I want to write this as an ordinary number. 10 to the power of 2 means 10 times 10, that is 100. 3.62, when you multiply by 100, we know that a decimal number you multiply by 100, what happened? That we have two zeros, it's kind of a two steps. So then it becomes 362.0. First you want to, most of the students I know that they ask the teacher that do we need to really have this step? I say, yes, you should. Because that the importance of having this step, you will realize that once you go to the O-level class, because in the O-level exam, the marks will be allocated for some of the steps. And if you are trying to skip the step at this age, definitely you are going to lose the mark, right? So then my recommendation is to write the steps as much as possible. If you think that you're struggling with the time, so that is all about your practice. So that means you have not practiced it well, that if you can practice the same kind of questions a lot, so then automatically that your speed will be improved. So then that writing the steps, it is not a matter at all. You are trying to skip the steps to save the time because you have not practiced the sums and you're struggling with the time. That's the reason. Okay, so then we will move to the part 2 here. The Roman number 2, you have correct 1648. 1648 to the nearest 100. So this is the 100 place. I look at the next number. When I look at the next number, if that next number is less than 5, I don't do anything to the underlying number. I just write 1 and 6, and then the rest of the digit will be 0. So then here I write to the nearest 100. Nearest 100. Okay. Then the third one, 0.807. 0.807, you want to write in standard form, that becomes 8.07 10 to the power of -1, right? So then always that if it is the standard form or the scientific notation, that number should be in between 1 and 10, right? And 10 to the power of something. That 10 to the power of something can be a positive index or a negative index based on the situation. Here we have a decimal number that which is less than 1. And then when you are correcting this to the, or the converting this to a standard form, definitely you will get that 10 to the power of negative value. Okay, so then we will move to the part 4 and 45,805. 45,805, right? And nearest 1,000. It is nearest 1,000. So then the nearest 1,000 is this. And you look at the next number, right? It is more than 5 or more than 5. We need to add 1 to where we need to add 1, children? To the underlying number. 5 becomes 6. Then what will happen to the rest of the digits? So then I replace them with zeros. 46,000, and here I write nearest 1,000, right? 46,000, 8.07 10 to the power of -1, and the nearest 100, 1,600, and here 360. Yes, we are done, right? So you just see, children, that how I have written the answers, how neat it is and how comprehensive it is. You show the steps as much as possible, right? And that you keep your answer sheet neat as much as possible. Okay, children. So then my next video will be the October 2024 formative assessment. And I would say after releasing October 2024 formative assessment, I will release October monthly test papers, that which is coming under the previous syllabus, that most of the parents, they think we don't want to go through them because now we do have the formative assessment with this Pearson Edexcel. But we can practice the October monthly test papers because those papers are difficult than these formative assessment papers. That means that you can practice kind of the difficult questions before you go to the formative assessment. Okay, children, we'll meet again with the October 2024 formative assessment paper. So till then, please study that you have the formative assessment exams on 30th and 31st. So then we'll take the maximum benefit out of the time, the remaining number of days you have. Okay, children, see you then. Bye.